Good morning, and thank you all for coming to show your support and for my family and your love for my Aunt Dee. I'm Shelley, Dee's niece. About a week ago, when we got Diane home on hospice, she reminded me of a promise I'd made to her years ago. A promise to give her eulogy at her funeral. She knew that I'd have to go back to Florida, but she wanted to make sure that I got this job done. I gave her my word. She also made me promise not to make it, as she put it, sappy and shit. I told her I would try. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Pastor Mike. My goal is to reassure you that she was ready to go, more so than I've ever seen anyone, and that she was at peace with dying and relive the better parts of her life. As I'm sure most of you are aware, my mom and Diane are identical twins, mirror image, with meaning in the womb they faced each other. So where my mom is right-handed, Diane was left. They have different personalities, but they look identical. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but having your mother be a twin is freaky to say the least. There have been many moments in my life when I've spoken to both of them at different times and they'd be cooking the same thing without knowing what the other one was doing. I've also seen them both have sympathy pains for each other in exact locations, things we could never understand. But what my mother having a twin meant for me was my cousins were more like my siblings, and she was like my mother. I mean, literally identical to my mother. Don't get me wrong, there are many differences between the two, but no matter what, they loved each other immensely. Diane also loved her children and grandkids immensely, but this is not news. I know they, just as I do, are completely aware of the sacrifices she made and the love that she had for them. Growing up, people may have questioned this, however, had they been around when she was mad at one of us. Although she never really was a violent person, she wasn't afraid to put our rear ends back in place. Especially Billy and Mac, who we are very lucky didn't put her in a grave years ago. Listening to Billy tell stories of the stuff he did and her reaction to it is pure bliss, at least to me anyway. Diane is most notably famous in our family for never knowing what child she was yelling at. If she was yelling at Billy, it went something like this. Shelley, Angie, Becky, Mac, damn it, Billy. Before she actually got the right name, she went through every one of us. This happened every single time. She was mad, and it lingered into her grandchildren, and I do believe several of us have picked this habit up. When my mom and dad picked me up at the airport, I told them that she had lived a hard life. In fact, the hardest life of anyone I know. And despite this, she still carried a love for life and a heart of gold. She wouldn't hurt anyone and still found a way to make everyone laugh when she herself was hurting. Over the past week, I've giggled so much while listening to stories about Diane, and up until the day before her passing, she still had us in stitches. It seems that nearly everyone has a funny story with her. Someone, and I'm sorry I can't remember who it is, posted this story on Facebook. Diane was in the bathroom stall at XL when she screamed, scaring everyone in the bathroom, kicked open the stall door, and ran out with her pants around her ankles, and all she could say was mouse. I pictured her doing this and laughed so hard. Her and my mom have an abnormal fear of mice. Diane was also known for her knowledge about everyone. If you wanted to know something about someone, call Diane. She always kept me up to date on current events back home. I didn't even really need Facebook. She also didn't know a stranger. When I brought her to stay with me in Florida a couple of years ago, within 1 week she knew everyone in my building and mostly everything about them. I'd lived there for a whole year and didn't know anyone but Rita. It was impossible to go anywhere with both her and my mother because they literally talked to everyone. She loved her time in Florida, and I'm glad I was able to give her this. Rita and I had a couple good laughs this week talking about her time with us. Knowing she is... Diane also had the title of best cook, second only to my granny in my family. She made the best homemade gravy, and I'm truly sorry if you missed out on this. But let me reassure you, nothing Diane cooked was healthy, but it was delicious. My Aunt Dee wasn't camera shy either. We definitely didn't have any problem coming up with pictures for her funeral. I'm sure most of you have a selfie with her or received a selfie from her. Up until she got really sick and couldn't fix herself up, most of us receive selfies on a regular basis. And I am now thankful for that. I could go on and on about this woman, but it is time for us to not say goodbye, but rather see you soon, knowing she has gone on to a better place, is in no more pain, and as Pastor Mike put it, received her crown, which I'm sure is the most blingy crown in all of heaven. We all have wonderful memories with her, memories we should cherish until we meet her again. Diane did not want to be remembered as sick, but rather fun-loving, hysterically inappropriate, and self-sacrificing sister, mother, aunt, cousin, and friend. Please take away from this knowledge that she is better now, and when it becomes hard realizing she is no longer with us, don't cry, but laugh at the good times you had with her. That's what she wanted. I love you, Aunt Diane, and I love you, Mom, Billy, Angie, Becky, Adam, and Ryan. And I want to say thank you, Ryan Reese, for taking such wonderful care of my aunt over the past year and a half that she's been sick. You've done a wonderful job. And I ask that all of you please wrap your arms around these people, because she meant the world to all of us. But we are at peace knowing that she no longer suffers. And she knew where she was going and was completely at peace with it. Please say prayers for us over the next couple of weeks while we adjust to life without her. Thank you all.